Hi there, today we're going to be doing an optical illusion art piece, and it's done with the traditional black and white imagery. So we've got two examples today that you're going to get to choose from. I'm going to start first with one that we're going to just use a circle form, just to make a circle kind of right here in the center, and I would just use a pencil. Okay, so I've got my pencil, and then we're going to just add lines all the way around. And I would not get these super close together because you will end up coloring in a lot more that way. So leave a little space in between. Mine's about a finger space in there. So I'm just turning my paper as I go. And then once we get all the way around, we're going to go back in and erase a little piece of this circle, just like about a third of the circle. So I'm going to go in and get rid of this right here. So this is what it looks like right now. Okay, and then I'm going to go from these ones that are at the top of this, and I'm going to go down to the bottom, and they're going to start getting closer together as they go into the bottom of this circle. And then some of them will have to kind of curve around to meet that bottom part. So it's going to look like it's pouring into a hole eventually. Okay, so I'm at the end of my circle on this side. Now I'm going to go over here on this side and do the same. And with optical illusion, you're just doing lots of patterns. So, but the pattern is very simple. Usually you're just doing two contrasting colors, and black and white obviously is the best contrast. So every other line, I'm going to start here in the center, and I'm just going to pick a line to start with, and that gets colored in. I'm using Sharpie, but you could do just regular markers, or even crayon is fine for this too. Whatever you've got handy. And that sets up my pattern for the rest of this paper. What I do suggest is not skipping around, because if you aren't in the right spot, then you mess up your pattern, which sometimes can be fixed and sometimes it can't be. So then I've got a white space that's going to be on either side of this, and then I'm going to color in the next space. So every other space. So this space is getting colored in next. Okay, and once I get done with this section up here, then we'll continue down here. I'm going to switch over to another piece of paper where I've got a little bit more done. So I've done the top part, and I wanted to kind of see how this bottom part would look against this, make sure I've got my lines far enough apart. So just to make sure of that, I did mark each other lines so that I knew which one of these to be coloring in. So if I just pick this up and continue, I'm gonna stop and do a time lapse so you can kind of see this in a little bit faster pace, and we'll check back in. Okay, for this last little part, we want to make it look like this is an enclosed space, and so it's going to be dark in there. And so you're going to I would take something a little lighter than a marker, and just like a crayon works good, or a pastel. And right along where we had that pencil line, we're going to just shade in a little bit of the black right over the top of this. And we're going to use a little bit of our value like we did a couple weeks ago. And we're going to maybe make it a little darker right against this circle edge. Okay, and then as we come out of this little hole right here, it'll lighten up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to stop right about there, but I don't want to go too high up here. I'm going to darken it just a little bit right here at the bottom. And almost done. Okay, there we go. And then looks like can put something down into the little tube. Okay, on this next one we're going to do, it's going to kind of look like a piece of material that's kind of rolling over. And so what we're going to do is start with our paper, pencil, and a ruler. So if you've got a ruler or some sort of a straight edge, that will come in handy. So we're just going to find the center of the paper, and then we're going to start making lines out from the center here all the way to the edge. And I wouldn't do these super close. It'll be a lot more work if you have these too close together. Make sure you're putting a little space in between each line. And they do not have to be the exact same width from each other. They can vary. It'll look a little bit more natural that way anyway. So then we're going to go between two lines, and I'm going to start connecting these two lines with a line that curves. And I'm going to be consistent all the way down. And I'm going to put 4 or 5 different kind of lines curving. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I had a piece of a 5th one here. I'm going to skip and go to the next one and do the same. Okay, and I'm going to fast forward this little part. Okay, now that I've got the lines all curving out, about 4 or 5 on each, every other one, Then I'm going to go to the spaces that are empty right now, and I'm going to do the opposite. So instead of curving this way, I'm going to curve this way. And they do not have to line up perfectly inside those spaces. Okay, so 4 or 5 lines curving the opposite direction as the ones on either side of that. So let's fast forward through this. Okay, now we have our lines all set up where we've got half of our spaces filled with curving lines that are going out, and then the other half of the curved lines are going in towards the center. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to pick one set of lines, and I'm going to start at the very center, and I'm going to use a black Sharpie, or I could do black color pencil, black marker is fine. And you can do these with other colors, but like the other one, black is the best contrast. So if you don't have black, then you could do just another dark color, purple and white, or dark green and white, or you could even maybe do a green against yellow, or a pink against like a brown or something. Okay, so I'm going to do the same. I'm going to go ahead and just fast forward through this little part so you can just watch me doing this. Now when I get to the next line, it is going to be the opposite. So I started black, white, this will be black right here. The next one is going to be the opposite, white, black, white, black, white, black. And then the next line will go back to exactly like this one. So this little triangle space will be black on this one, white, black, white, black. And I'm just going to keep that rotation all the way around. All right, as we kind of wrap this up, I just wanted to show you just an extra little step that you could do if you really want to make this look like there's some movement and give it a little bit more dimension. After I finished the Sharpie part, I just took a little crayon, and right here along the edge where the two spaces meet, just lightly shading a little black, just to show a little shadowing in that space. So just going through each of those, and it doesn't take real long. It just can be very light. And then on the black spaces, right in the center, I just took a color pencil and just added just a little bit, very light white, so it looks like it's reflecting some light at the very center of the black. So I'm not going to go over the whole black space, just right in the center, and that makes it look like it's rounding and reflecting some light and casting some shadows over here on this side. So I hope you enjoyed this version of Optical Illusion art.